What's up guys, it's your boy Splash and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be playing a new game called Demon Slayer Storm. Here you go, check it out. It's on iOS so far. I don't think they have it on Android yet. Go ahead and check it out. Yeah, so since the game came out, a lot of people have been making a lot of different types of lineups. There's a lot of character balancing. We're going to see what the meta is, which ones are must-haves, which ones are like ones you cannot use at all. This is how I categorize the characters. We got SS, best of the best, S, incredible, A, great, B, good, C, mid, and D, terrible. Look, I forgot to take that out.
A few moments later.
I will be showing a breakdown video because this game did release just 2 weeks ago. So this is just the first tier list of many. It's gonna be, I think it's gonna be pretty interesting because I've seen a lot of different combinations to use. I've seen a lot of characters be used in certain formations. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about which characters go good together, which ones aren't usable, and which ones are just must-haves, as you can see right here. And then we also have a category for unknowns because a new character just come out. His name is Akaza. And yeah, we're going to see where we are there. And yeah, before we get into this, if you guys like these type of videos, if you want to see more of this, just make sure to smash that like button and subscribe today to join the Splash Squad. So let's get right into it. Alright, for the first character, we have Tamayo, who is a wind and lightning character, I believe. That's what it stands for. She's gonna go to SS tier. She's the #1 support unit in the game. Hands down, there's no debate. Everybody should be using this. Is a must-have character, okay? Alright, her first ability, Magical Aroma of Daylight. Attack a random target and deal 122% damage to 3 friendly units with the highest attack. Shelter heals a unit 40% of their health when their life points reaches 40% of their health. So that just gets them back to 80% of health. On top of that, she increases defense and damage up for, if you see in her level 2 ability, wind and lightning characters. It's not necessary because she's still very good support for no matter what team she's on. She's very good, she's the best. But yeah, that's gonna be for Tamayo. Alright, next we're gonna put Rengoku. Alright, we're gonna read his first active skill is going to be First Form Annoying Fire. Attack a front target and deal 231% damage. Adds 5 burn effects to the character, which is really crazy because it's 15% of their attack, of their health being drained every single turn, every time it's their turn. So that could do a lot of damage over time, and that will last 2 turns. And on top of that, he also will do 20% more damage to support heroes, which are, I believe, you need at least one support hero in your team, and I'm going to get into that when the character is in the tier list. But yeah, very, very, very good. He will also deal 10% more damage up to 50%, depending on how many burn tags are on him, which is very good. And again, that can be supported by support units like Tamayo, who could lower their defense, debuff resistance. So there we go. I still recommend that you have him in your lineup. He's a must-have. You know, everybody loves Rengoku, hopefully. But yeah. Next up, we have Inosuke. So, Inosuke is a defensive unit. Okay. Let me just elaborate too. We have Rengoku as a DPS unit, so an attacker. Tamayo is a support unit. Now we have a tank. See, tanks in this game, for tanks, among the tanks, among the defensive units, he's actually, I think, he might be the best or within the top 3. So I'm going to put him, for now I'm going to put him in S tier. This is subject to change, but I'm going to put him for S. Okay. Inosuke has great skills. You know, he could put on shields. He has damage reflection. And he also has ability to just stun the opponents with, I think, about 30 to 35% chance. Of Inosuke, I believe he's a great defensive unit. He goes good on teams with Tamayo because she can heal and also give damage buffs to water and lightning heroes or green heroes. Next we have Mr. Tengen Uzui, right? Tengen. I'm gonna put him in B for now. I do like his kit. He does great damage. I'm pretty sure he does 2 AoEs, right? He has 2 AoEs. You know what? I'm gonna move him to A. He has 2 AoE attacks, right? He adds shield to himself. He has a chance to stun, and he has increased damage on the first, as long as your opponent has lots of health, he'll continue to do more damage. And on top of that, he could also decrease their critical rate, so just decreasing the amount of damage that they can do to your team. So I do think I'm going to put him A. I think he's deserving of A. And he is also an attack unit, DPS unit. Next up, we have Mitsuri Kanroji. So we're gonna put her in. If I'm being honest, I'm gonna put her mid. I'm not a big fan of this character. If you have her at low stars, I would not invest too much into this character. But if you have her a decent amount of stars, then I would say like red star, maybe 3 or above. I'll put her B, I guess, good. She does lots of damage over time, and it is chance based, and the actual damage output can be good, but I do think her defense is a little bit lacking. Yeah, it's very situational. I just think there's lots of DPS characters that are better than her, so I'm just gonna put her in B. Next we have Nezuko. Okay, so she is gonna be. I'm gonna put Nezuko in mid, only because her attack is lackluster and her defense is mid. It's okay. Her support abilities can be useful if you have a high attacking team, because her abilities include increasing your critical rate, which is good as a support unit. It's her job. Healing, but that healing percentage is based off how much damage you do to the opponent and if you critical hit them. So your critical rate is increased based on her first attack, but it's still not a guarantee. Yeah, it's very chance based. I did like this character at the start, so if you have this character, I would decently work up if you have a lot of copies. But if you don't have a lot of copies, I wouldn't be against you re-rolling her into Rengoku. If I'm being honest, she's probably the top 2 fire characters in this game. For the elements in this game, fire definitely was done the worst. You know, there's only like 3 characters I would think of using that are in the fire category. So other than that, yeah, next character, let's move on. This is hands down my favorite character in the game, Sabito. I want to put him SS. I really want to put him SS, but I cannot, because I just can't put him in SS. I do think there's a few others that compete with him or are on the same level as Sabito. He is hands down my favorite character, right? So this is what he can do. He can attack steal your opponent up to 15% of their attack. I think up to what? Sabito, if you build him up enough, he can steal up to 25% of your opponent's hero with the highest attack. So he targets the highest attacking character that your opponent has, already very good. Steals their attack, adds it to himself. And I'm not gonna lie, his damage percentages are very nice. They are very, very good. They are top tier in this game. They are around like Rengoku's level. Not as good as Rengoku, obviously. Rengoku's still the king of damage. But I'm gonna give Sabito, he's right there. He's right under, yes, very there. He's very good. He's incredible. And on top of that, he can also use stun and bleed abilities. So one to interrupt your opponent so they can't get turn stoppage. And then we also have damage over time, very good, which can go very hand in hand with lots of the support characters in this game, which I'm going to get through all of them when you're seeing when we're done the tier list. But Sabito, definitely one of my favorite characters in this game. Also, he is a water character, which in my opinion, I believe water is the strongest element in this game. Water is they have the most characters, I think, for DPS units so far. Now we have another character that you get from login bonuses as well as Rengoku, Sakunoji Urodaki. So I'm going to put him at the beginning of the game. I wouldn't have put him in the very high in the tier list. I was not a fan of this character, but as I got to play with him more and more, especially in PvP, I started to realize his value of the taunt. And the taunt, is what it sounds like. It makes your opponent's heroes that he attacks attack him only, and he's a defensive unit, so that's very good for protecting your other units. He does not have any healing abilities, which is something that you could remedy with maybe a healing scroll or a rune, but he is still very good. The taunt though is it's his ace card. That's what he's good for. That's what you would use him for. His taunt can stop them from attacking other units and also stops them from using their active skills. So let's say they have an AoE attack. You hit them with Urodaki, his first attack, and it's his first attack too. Urodaki's first attack, the bamboo shoots that come out of the ground, hits them, gets taunt. Let's say they have Rengoku. I do believe it only gets 2 lines of units, but let's say they put Rengoku in the front. He's taunted. Rengoku is not doing his AoE attack the next turn, unless he has a debuff remover. But other than that, Rengoku gets locked. He can still do damage, but that's why Urodaki is a defensive unit. So I think he's very good. I'm gonna put him actually in great. I'm gonna put him right here below Tengen. Actually, I'm gonna put him above Tengen. Only because the ease of access to get him is much easier to get him than Tengen. Because Tengen, I've only pulled one copy and I've done so many summons. Accessibility, I'm gonna put Urudaki. Only because you can also get him from login bonuses and from the starters trials. So yeah, Urudaki. Next, we have a character I really love. Unfortunately, I wish I could put him higher in this tier list because he was one of the first characters I pulled. But I don't think I could do that. I'm going to get Zenitsu and I'm going to put him in good. I'm actually going to put him, unfortunately, below. I'm going to put him below Mitsuri. If I had to choose between them, unfortunately, I would have to choose Mitsuri. Her damage over time skills are very useful in some scenarios. And Zenitsu has a couple like static and he has chances to stun. But the percentages are, I don't think the percentages hit enough. They can, trust me, don't get me wrong. He can go really, he can be good. He can be good if he gets those stuns and the statics. But then again, it's chance based, so it's not guaranteed. And I want to say his speed stat is the greatest. You can buff him. His speed is pretty good. But I would not put him above Kanroji, just for that fact. He also is a double AoE DPS unit, like Tengen and Mitsuri, I believe. They're both double AoE, so that means both their attacks are AoEs. Yeah, he's still good. He's still good, so I'm gonna leave him in B. Next, another character, another one of my favorites. We have a favorite, Giyu. I do believe water is the strongest element in this game. Do not make too many water elements though. At the most, I would use like 2. Because 3 is a huge investment. Because if you're trying to get them high stars, you have to be pulling a whole bunch of water units, or re-rolling water units to get characters to put into that new character. At the most, I would use 2. At the current, I'll show you guys my lineup in the next video. But yeah, we're gonna go Giyu. He's gonna go into. I'm gonna put him in Incredible, and actually, I'm gonna put him above Inosuke. I don't think he's better than the Sabito, but he's right there. If I'm being honest, it's honestly preference. Based on his skills, it's honestly preference. You can't go wrong with either of these two. They are both really good units. I do think Giyu is harder to get. Sabito, you can get him from the selection boxes, the optional packs. But Giyu is still, he's on that level. He's on that level. He increases his team speed, lowers his opponent's speed, all of them. Just from like start of the battle, he'll decrease all their speed. He also decreases their debuff resistance, which means more chances to give them bleeds or stuns, which can be good for honestly damage dealers over time, such as Mitsuri, Zenitsu, honestly so many characters. And his damage is good. He has, this is what I love, this is his character's bread and butter. Damage penetration. It will make your damage almost sometimes double in some battle scenarios, which is super good. Even if you have one copy of him, he can still be usable if you put him in the training and make him high level, which I do. I wish I could get more copies of him. I'm obviously trying to get more, but yeah, definitely an incredible character. He belongs in S tier. Next, we have water training Tanjiro. Water style Tanjiro. This character is honestly one of those hit and miss characters because he can stun, His defense is good. His attack is pretty decent actually. His speed is average to above average. He doesn't have too many damage over time effects or attack stackers, unless you put him on a team with debuff units. So let's say Giyu or Tamayo, units that like to stack a lot of debuffs on the opponent. He's very good with those units, and he's also a last stand unit, which means he gets stronger the longer he lasts in the game and the more that your other characters die. So let's say all your other characters die, he'll get, I think, about 50% more damage for his attack. So Tanjiro, I'm gonna put him low 8. I'm gonna put him above Tengen. Yeah, he does really good damage. If they have debuffs, I think he'd do a lot of damage. He could be a nice AoE unit, and his animation is pretty nice too. I like the animation. The water animation, I believe, is the best in this game. If I haven't made it clear already, I like the water. The water affiliation is really good. But yeah, put him above Tengen. I'm gonna put him 8 great. He's very good. He's great. Now, another Giyu. We have Academy version Giyu. I'm gonna put him right here, right next to. I'm gonna put him above Water Pillar Gyu. I believe they're actually on the same level. I'm gonna call them equals. I'm gonna call them interchangeable. They are right here, right there, right there, right here. They're right here. Academy, Water Pillar. They're right here. They're both really good. You can't go wrong with either one of them. I'd only put Academy Gyu over Water Pillar Gyu, only for the fact that he's easier to get as a character. You can get him from Infinity Castle Flowers in the shop, and I believe you can also get him in. Yeah, I believe you can get him in some exchanges as well. So I would put Academy version over Water Pillar. My personal favorite, if I did one I liked more, I do prefer Water Pillar, but in terms of just effectiveness, because he also silences, which just stops your opponent from using any abilities. He's got targeting ability, so he can target the support units as well. He does extra damage to support units. He targets the opponent's hero with the least amount of health. And yeah, his damage output is also really great. It's top tier. So I'm going to put him in S as incredible. Yeah, I'm just going to put Fire Tanjiro mid. There's nothing special about his kit. He applies burn. There's actually a lot of units in this game that do damage over time abilities. I guess he has decent attack stats, and his crits, that's what his kit does. I think it's his main element of his character. His crits are still chance based, and I still don't think that he can't really tank. He's just not that good in my opinion, so I'm just gonna put him in mid. I actually do think Nezuko is better than him because she at least can support your characters and heal and increase their crit chance as well. So I guess if you want to use them together, you can, but I wouldn't advise it if you're building a team. Next we have Rengoku, just Rengoku, Kyojuro Rengoku. This character, I think a lot of people love. I have a love-hate with this character because on paper his skills sound really broken, but when actually put into games, I don't think he performs as well as he should. So I'm gonna put him in the bottom of B tier. I'm willing to move him up only because he has a skin that is coming out, I believe, tomorrow, Tuesday. And it's going to be free for everybody. Everybody can get it. It increases all his stats. So once that comes out, I'm going to see. But for now, I'm just going to put him at the bottom of B. He has very good defense, obviously. He has a 1 attack stoppage. He has an ability called Damage Block, which he can apply to all units. He's kind of a defensive support unit. He is a defensive unit in the game, but he's kind of a defensive support. He'll put damage block on all your, so stop 1 attack and make it detect 0 on all of your friendly units. It will last 2 turns. That sounds very good. It can be very good, but if a unit does multiple hit damage, kind of like let's say Sabito, any of the Gyus, Kyojuro, you're kind of cooked because it only stops the first one. It doesn't stop the other 2. Like let's say because Sabito, he does that water wheel. It attacks you by I think 3-4 times. It only stopped the first one, but the other 3 would still hit you. So it's very good, but I don't think it's very applicable to the meta as it is right now. And his attack down ability is pretty good too, but I wouldn't say it's game changing. So I'm gonna put him at the bottom of B tier. He's still good though. I wouldn't invest too much into him, but he's still good. All right, these are characters I personally don't have, but I've gone against them. I've made a second account, try to get these characters, use them a little bit. And in my opinion, I'm gonna put this Enmu, not the SSR one, lower rank 1. I'm gonna put them in S tier, above Inosuke. This character, if I read the abilities right, I'm gonna read this ability. Can reduce your opponent's defense by a larger percentage, 20 to 30%. Has a specific ability called Split, which is a debuff that he puts on opponents. It will reduce their defense by 20%. Loses 30% of their critical damage when attacking him. Their critical damage will be decreased up to 30% if you have this character. So characters like Nezuko wouldn't be effective. The Fire Tanjiro wouldn't be effective. Just lowers damage overall to your team in general, which is good. Very good counter for Tengen, because Tengen is a critical based character, so very good character overall. also has sleep, which basically is better than silence almost, because it stops them from just being able to do anything for 2 turns. Silence stops passive abilities as well, which is better, but Enmu's still very good. Cannot let them attack for 2 turns. Daki, when I read this character's kit, I was very impressed. I personally haven't used her in gameplay or seen her too much because she's an Oni character and they are harder to get and upgrade and ascend. But based on her kit and what I've read, she has damage reduction, defensive reduction on your opponent by like 30%, increases your team's defense by 30%, shares damage that your other heroes receive with herself, and she's the defensive unit, so that could be very good for protecting, let's say, a weaker support unit or attack unit. Very good. She also has counter attack abilities, so if your opponents are attacking like your weaker characters, let's say your Gyu is attacking, let's say they have Academy Gyu and they're attacking one of your lower health, one of your heroes that's low on health, she will share that damage with them and counter attack him, which is very good. So I'm gonna put her at top of A tier. Very good. Great character. I'm only not putting her in incredible because she's not very accessible to get. Unless, I don't know, you're spending what, $200 on the game to try to get this character, like multiple copies. I don't think it's worth that much to get that character, but she is a very good character. She's great. SSR Rui. Now, SSR Rui is another character I haven't seen too much of. Alright, Daki, I don't think I've seen her at all within the top ranked players in the world on the servers. I've seen SSR Rui in there. And based on his skills, let me take a look at those real quick. I'm going to put him above Daki and Great, because he also does defensive resistance, increases your team's defense by I think about 30%. He can heal at huge amounts. He can heal at 200% with his own attack onto all friendly units. He does line damage, which can be very good for the straight line in the middle formation. He can apply bleeding. He does AoE damage, so attack on everything. And he could also purge debuffs on your characters, which Daki can also do as well, but I'm going to have to put him A. SSR Rui, I think he's a pretty good investment. Most of the Onis are actually good. It's just the fact that they're so hard to ascend and upgrade because you don't really pull them that often from the summons, and they're not very accessible. You can't really pull them like that. And you need copies of a character to make them really usable. They're still great, so I'm going to put them in A tier. And now we have Gyutodo. This character, I love his animation. His damage is great. Like, I'm going to put him off rip. I'm just going to put him above Inosuke. That's just incredible. Incredible. And now that I'm looking at the S tier list, I'm going to put Inosuke. I'm going to drop him down to A tier. I'm going to put him above Urudaki. I'm going to put him at the top of A tier. Only because he's easier to get than everybody else. Or not than everybody else. He's easier to get than Rui and Daki. But he's still better than Urudaki, Tanjiro, and Tengen. So, yeah. Gyutodo. Back on topic. Gyutodo. His damage output is insane. His percentages are very high. He can stun on his first attack, which is very good from stopping your opponent's ultimate attack on turn 2. He has defense. He can ignore defense based on how many debuffs they have. And I think he also can work as a support unit. So he's like a support attack, which I think is kind of broken. He can lower your opponent's speed, increase your team speed, and then ignore defense while you're attacking, and then also stun. So he's just really good all around. I don't know about his defense, but he's a DPS unit. It's not his job. So I'm still gonna put him in S, just because of his capability. I know he's a lot harder to get than all the other characters, like these two right here. Probably some of the hardest characters to get. You can only get them from exchanges or if you rank high in the rankings, but other than that, yeah, he's a valid character. I'm gonna put him in S tier. Let's look at Shinobu. Shinobu is the second best support unit in the game. I'm just gonna say that off bat. If you don't have Tamayo and you have Shinobu, upgrade Shinobu. Because Shinobu's, I'm gonna put her in incredible. I'm gonna put her above these two because she's easier to get. But very good support unit. Let me just read some of her abilities for you. Her first ability off rip, her first attack increases your team speed and heals them which is very good. So increases your chance of your team going first for the attacks, and then heals them a very large percent. I think the highest in the game actually, based on percentage. She has the highest healing rate. Yeah, higher than Rui's. So yeah, Shinobu is really good. She also can increase your unit's attack percentage, which is huge, by up to 25%. Very, 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 very good character. Very good support character. I almost want to put her in SS, but she is harder to get than Tamio. And Tamio's abilities, I still think she also does very good damage. So I'm just gonna put her above Shinobu for that. But other than that, Shinobu's great. Shinobu's incredible, as you can see, S tier. And before we move on to the next character, she also has an ability called Venom Flower, which can increase how much damage your opponents can take. So she's also debuff support. So she'll make them take more damage while you take, well, not take less damage, but she'll heal your team while their opponent will take more damage, have less speed than you. And yeah, she's a very good character. And that means she also will technically do more damage because her damage percentages aren't bad at all. So yeah, S tier. All right, we have 3 more SSRs remaining. We're gonna start with a character I really wish was higher, but unfortunately he isn't. Muichiro. His kit is really, really, really good, but the accessibility and the difficulty it is to draw him is very high. So putting those 2 things into account, I'm gonna put him, because he's better than Tengen. He's better than this Tengen right here. But it's just so hard to get him, and if you get dupes of him, try to just upgrade him. He's very good. Very good attacker. He ignores defense. He can purge buffs. I'm going to put him... Man, this is so hard to do because he's really good. He's really good. I want to put him like above the... I want to put him above Inosuke. But because he's so hard to get, I'm going to leave him at A tier. But I'm just going to put him... I'm going to put him below these 2. Okay. But above these 2. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just going to put him above this 2. Only because... No. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm going to put him right next to Urudaki. I would put him top of A tier, borderline S tier, if he was easier to get. But his kit is incredible. He can pierce. He has ignore defense. He increases his speed and attack by huge percentages. Not for the team, but for himself, which can be a problem if he's locked by taunts. He can purge buffs. He's good. So I'm just going to leave him in A tier, in the middle of A tier, about the middle. So yeah, Muichiro, A tier. Another character I wish was really good, but I'm going to have to put this Tengen in B tier. Musical score Tengen. You would think he's better than base Tengen, and his stats look really good on paper. He applies musical score, which decreases how much damage your opponent will do to him. He can heal for about 15% for his team, which is pretty good, and he's a defensive unit. He doesn't have anything like taunt or damage reflection like Inosuke or Urudaki, so I can't put him on that level. His stats are really good. He does also decrease your opponent's debuff resistance, but in the long run, I don't think that's a really like outstanding trait because a lot of characters will still do pretty good, decent with that debuff resistance lowered. So I'm gonna have to put him in the top of B tier. I do think he's better than these 3, but I just don't think he deserves to be called great. I don't think he's a great character. I think he's good. He's a good character. But I don't think he's worth investing everything into. He's not that ace type of character. So yeah, B tier for Tengen, musical score version. Next, the last SSR character was just released yesterday. Today's Monday for me. So if you're watching this, Tuesday, Wednesday, or same day, I might have to do the same day. Akasa. I read this man's kit because he's been in the game, but he was a playable character. This man's kit makes me want to call him the best character. He has crowd control immunity, critical rate by 30% up, damage resistance, debuff immunity, so you can't really put anything on him. He's immune to everything, basically. And he does incredible damage. He can do up to, let me see. Yeah, he does front and mid targets, so it's like a semi AoE. Very good. And then his second attack, that's a killer right there. accelerates plus 30%. So I believe that means he gets 30% more speed, which means he's going to be the first one to attack, so people won't even get a chance to like stop this character from doing anything. He immediately attacks a front target and deals 450% damage, which I think is the highest percentage of damage in the entire game. I think maybe competing, I think he might actually surpass Rengoku in terms of damage. I think it's also his bread and butter. This is his buff, Fury, which if he stacks 3 of them, which means if he gets attacked 3 times, and he already has good defense as an attack unit, DPS unit, he can do up to, let me read this if I'm reading this right, up to 750% damage. 750% damage. I think that almost double what Rengoku can do, if I remember correctly. But I would put him in SSS. He's best of the best. There's a summon rate up right now for him. If you can get him, get him. I wouldn't put everything to try to get this character because he is extremely hard to acquire. He's extremely hard to acquire. Unless you got lots of money to spend on this game, I would not go for him. I myself have only done like I think 2 multis, but I did have to save up my gems, and I did also. You can get him from faction ticket summons now, so you don't have to invest a whole lot to try to get this character. But well, you do, but it's gonna take a long time, and I don't think he's worth that. Even though I think he's actually the best character in the game, besides Rengoku. No, he's better than Rengoku. Let me just say that right now. He's better than Rengoku. But he's just so hard to get. I was gonna put him in unknown. I'm gonna put him. I don't want people to just click and see this and just say, "Oh, SS, let me go for him." He's extremely hard to get. But just for the sake of accuracy and where he actually is in the game, and he just came out yesterday. I want to update this list another time, but for now I'm just gonna put him SS, best of the best. He's a must-have if you already have a squad. If you're just starting the game, which most people are because it's already been like 2 weeks of the game, unless you've got a lot of money to spend, I would not try to get this character. Please do not try to get this character stacked up unless you really get lucky and you pull him. If you pull him, he's your best character. Ace. He's your ace. Upgrade this character. But other than that, I'm gonna put him below Tamio only because he's super hard to get. Top 3 units of the game right here. Big 3. Tamio, Rengoku, and Akaza. Rengoku, Tamio, and Akaza in that order. Rengoku, Tamio, Akaza. Big 3. Alright. Now we're moving to the SSRs. Some of these you can actually use in story mode. Even though I would not advise it because you will be using most of them for ascending your characters, ascending your SSRs. I'm just going to order them. I'm just going to order them real quick. Just real quick. I'm going to make this real quick. Alright guys, so here's a time skip version of the tier list. We got Rengoku, Tamio, Akaza, Big 3, 1, 2, 3. S Incredible. We got Sabito, Academy Gyu, Water Pillar Gyu, Shinobu Academy, Enmu, Gyutaro, then A tier, Great. I'm gonna put Inosuke, Rui, Daki, Muichiro, Udadaki, Tanjiro, and then Tengen. B, good. Tengen musical score, Mitsuri Kenroji, Zenitsu, Tengen, then mid. Got most of the SRs in mid. I do believe I ordered it and who I think is the best out of them. Also, Fire Nezuko and Tanjiro are in there. They're okay. They're not the best SSRs. They're the worst SSRs in the game. Then next we have just unusable characters. These characters, every character in unusable and mid, you should use them for ascending and building up your SSR characters. Unless you really can't pull any SSR characters, then they're in order of best to worst. Best being on the left, worst being on the right. And yeah. Other than that, this array right here, you can just ignore him. He's just a copy version of the SR one, not the SSR one. So, yeah. And yeah, that's going to be it for the video today, guys. If you liked it, if you enjoyed it, if you found this useful to you in any way, shape, or form, make sure to smash that like button before you weigh Splash and subscribe today to join Splash Squad. I would love to hear you guys' questions and comments about this game and in the comment section if you have any questions, or if you think someone should be higher or lower in this tier list. Feel free to comment and just, yeah, without further ado,